Board of Mayor and Aldermen, regular meeting is called to order. Please stand and we'll have a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much for coming out for our September meeting. Our first item on the agenda is a moment of silence. I didn't forget. We'll have a moment of silence.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the privilege to have this meeting, serving our people. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. 1.3, the approval of the regular meeting of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen held on August 16, 2022. Motion made by Alderman Green, a second by Alderman Gregg. Are there any corrections? No corrections to the minutes. We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, Ms. Brickles. 1.4, our public hearings. Public hearing number 1, ordinance 22-15, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2023's annual budget of the City of Springfield by amending certain general funds and utility funds operating budgets. If you would like to speak, please come to the mic, state your name, and you have 2 minutes to speak on the subject. Would anyone like to speak? If not, the public hearing is closed. Public hearing number 2, ordinance 22-16, an ordinance amending the City of Springfield service practice policies by amending the section entitled Billing, by amending the subsection entitled Billing Adjustments. If you would like to speak, please come to the mic. Anyone like to speak on public hearing number 2? If no one would like to speak, the public hearing is closed. We'll move on to our legislative portion. 2.1, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 22-15 on a second and final reading. An ordinance amending the fiscal year 2023's annual budget for the City of Springfield by amending certain general funds and utility funds operating budgets. Motion made by Alderman Hubbard, a second by Alderman Green to discuss. Questions on this? Our city manager, Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. This item needs to be amended to include, as we told you last month, some additional projects. These are carryover items to bring those items from last fiscal year over into this fiscal year's budget. Projects that didn't get completed, and we've included some more from the utilities in this month's ordinance.
And these are housekeeping things for the audience. This is something that we are required by law to do. Any questions?
I make a motion that we amend it as stated by our city manager.
Okay. Motion's made by Alderman Hubbard, a second by Alderman Gregg. Questions? Discussion? No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Back on the main motion as amended. Any discussion? No discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 2.2, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 22-16 on a second and final reading. An ordinance amending the City of Springfield service practice policies by amending the section entitled Billing, by amending the subsection entitled Billing Adjustments to read as set forth in Exhibit A. Motion made by Alderman Hubbard to discuss and a second by Alderman Green. Questions on this second and final reading? No discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 2.3, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 22-17 on a first reading. A ordinance rezoning one parcel located at 1800 South Main Street from R7 High Density Residential District to CLS Commercial Limited Service District. Motion made by Alderman Hubbard to discuss, a second by Alderman Green. I'll call on Ms. Brickles to read this first reading.
Ordinance 22-17, an ordinance rezoning one parcel located at 1800 South Main Street from R7 High Density Residential District to CLS Commercial Limited Service District. Whereas a rezoning application was presented to the Springfield Planning Commission by Kevin Dickerson, property owner, requesting one parcel, tax map 091B, Group D, Parcel 12 of the tax maps of Robertson County, Tennessee, approximately .35 acres, located at 1800 South Main Street, be rezoned from R7 High Density Residential District to CLS Commercial Limited Services District. Whereas the Springfield Planning Commission has reviewed the application and has voted with a favorable recommendation to be rezoned. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of Springfield, Tennessee as follows. One parcel totaling approximately .35 acres owned by Kevin Dickerson, located at 1800 South Main Street, tax map 91B, Group D, Parcel 12 of the tax maps of Robertson County, Tennessee, and being more fully described by Exhibit A attached, is hereby rezoned from R7 High Density Residential District to CLS Commercial Limited Services District. This zoning shall become effective following its second and final passage as required by law.
Thank you. Questions, discussion? Yes, sir.
Comment, I support this. This young man is a master chef of Southern cuisine, and I enjoyed him feeding me up over the years, so I
I
support it.
look forward to it.
Oh, he can cook.
His wife can cook, he can cook.
Who's gonna be cooking? His wife or him?
His wife probably.
He's hating.
Other discussion, questions? Seems like it's about that time, isn't it? We're all talking about food, our favorite subject. Any discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-1.
Thank you. 2.4, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 22-18 on a first reading. Ordinance rezoning one parcel located at 301 Fifth Avenue West from RS10 Medium Density Residential Single Family District to CC Core Commercial District. Motion made by Alderman Hubbard, a second by Vice Mayor Harris to discuss. I'll call on Ms. Brickles to read this.
Ordinance 22-18, an ordinance rezoning one parcel located at 301 Fifth Avenue West from RS10 Medium Density Residential Single Family District to CC Core Commercial District. Whereas a rezoning application was presented to the Springfield Planning Commission by Jack R. Dunn, authorized agent for Central Christian Church, is requesting one parcel, tax map 80G, Group C, Parcel 33 of the tax maps of Robertson County, Tennessee, approximately .29 acres, located at 301 Fifth Avenue West, be rezoned from RS10 Medium Density Residential Single Family District to CC Core Commercial District. Whereas the Springfield Planning Commission has reviewed the application and voted with a favorable recommendation to be rezoned. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of Springfield, Tennessee as follows. One parcel totaling approximately .29 acres owned by Central Christian Church at 301 Fifth Avenue West, tax map 80G, Group C, Parcel 33 of the tax maps of Robertson County, Tennessee, and being more fully described by Exhibit A attached, is hereby rezoned from RS10 Medium Density Residential Single Family District to CC Core Commercial District. This rezoning shall become effective following its second and final passage as required by law.
Thank you. I'm going to call on our city manager, Ryan Martin, first.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to add, at the very back of this particular agenda item, you'll see that there is a letter of permission from Springfield Family Dental to allow Willow Oak to use parking after 5 PM on the weekdays and on weekends. That was an issue that was raised at the Planning Commission level, and so I wanted to make sure you all were aware that that issue had been resolved.
Thank you for pointing that out. Yes, sir.
Yes, as a 40-year academician, I'm for it. Anything that would enhance the intellects of our citizens, particularly those ones under 18 years of age, to bring us to a more in-depth intellectual perspective, because this is a changing world. It's all about the head right now, very little about the physicality.
Willow Oaks has been a tremendous program in our city and our county, and it has made such a huge difference in the lives of children and adults. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to announce for everyone that I will have to abstain since I am on the board for Willow Oak.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Yes, thank you.
Any other discussion? No discussion, we're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0 to 1.
Thank you. 2.5, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 22-19 on a first reading, or ordinance rezoning one parcel located at 2409 South Main Street from R20 Low Density Residential District to CS Commercial Services District. Motion made by Alderman Green, a second by Alderman Hubbard to discuss. Ms. Brickles?
Ordinance 22-19, an ordinance rezoning one parcel located at 2409 South Main Street from R20 Low Density Residential District to CS Commercial Services District. Whereas a rezoning application was presented to the Springfield Planning Commission by William Andrew Rawls, property owner, requesting one parcel, tax map 91J, Group A, parcel 11 of the tax maps of Robertson County, Tennessee, approximately 1 acre, located at 2409 South Main Street, be rezoned from R20 Single Family Residential District to CS Commercial Services District. Whereas the Springfield Planning Commission has reviewed the application and voted with a favorable recommendation to be rezoned. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of Springfield, Tennessee as follows. One parcel totaling approximately 1 acre owned by William Andrew Rawls at 2409 South Main Street, tax map 91J, Group A, parcel 11 of the tax maps of Robertson County, Tennessee, and being more fully described by Exhibit A attached, is hereby rezoned from R20 Single Family Residential District to CS Commercial Services District. This rezoning shall become effective following its second and final passage as required by law.
It kind of comes out third. I said that earlier before we started the meeting because we've done third readings for so long. Any discussion? Yes, sir, Mr. Hubbard.
Correct me if I'm right or wrong, Mr. Brewer. Wasn't that the old, like, dairy dip?
Yes.
Yes, sir, there
For a long
was,
time.
some
Many
time
years
back,
ago.
there was a
When I was a
drive-up hamburger restaurant
I
there.
thought it was.
It's my understanding that they're looking to put in like a commissary for mobile food service vehicles.
Any other questions while he's at the mic?
One comment.
Yes, sir.
That is sort of a desert spot for, they don't have any type of food, fast food area, so that would
Be good.
definitely be a good
Yeah,
location.
you're right. Any other questions while he's at the mic? Any other discussion? No more discussion, we're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-1.
Thank you. 2.6, discuss and possible take action on Resolution 22-29, on a resolution declaring certain properties surplus and authorizing the disposal of such properties. A motion made by Vice Mayor Harris, a second by Alderman Green to discuss. This is something that we do every month. Another one of them bookkeeping matters. Any questions?
Get them off the street.
No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 2.7, Discuss and possible take action on Resolution 22-30, a resolution accepting a maintenance bond for Reyes Construction, Inc. to guarantee maintenance surety for streets, right-of-ways, easements, and infrastructure improvements for the Green Hills subdivision, Section 1, Phase 4. Motion made by Alderman Green and a second by Alderman Gregg to discuss. Any questions on this maintenance bond? Bookkeeping again, isn't it? No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 2.8, discuss and possible take action on Resolution 22-31, a resolution authorizing the acceptance of the Tennessee Department of Environmental and Conservation's Federal American Rescue Plan non-competitive allocation of $2,479,962.34 to be used towards the construction of the new wastewater treatment plant. Motion made by Alderman Hubbard, a second by Alderman Green. Can we get more money is my question to the city manager. We need a lot more.
We're working on it.
Need the money.
We'd be happy if you came back and told us we had more money.
We are applying for just about anything that
Please
any
do.
agency in the world is offering for a wastewater treatment plant. If there's a few cents that they're giving away, our hand is out somewhere, so
Yeah.
Take what we can get.
that's right.
If you haven't,
That's right.
if you haven't heard, this is something that we must do, and we can use some prayers about getting some more money that we're not having to borrow. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
My comment is, as we grow, we need to improve our infrastructure so citizens understand. Maybe a few little growing pains, but it's worth it.
Yes, sir. We all have to pay it.
That's it.
Got to take care of the house. Any more discussion? No discussion, we're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Our administrative agenda. 3.1, discuss and possible take action on the adjustments of the retail electric rates of the Springfield Electric Department due to the wholesale fuel cost adjustments by the Tennessee Valley Authority. Motion to discuss by Alderman Green, a second by Vice Mayor Harris.
You ready for me?
I'm ready for you.
Overall, it's good news for the customers. My fuel cost rate is up. We are now fall rate period, so net effect will save about $5 for residential customers, resulting in a retail rate of 3.7% lower than last month.
Thank you. That is good news. And this is Mr. Jamie Dean. He's filling in for Mr. Sachs, who I will stop and brag on for a second. He hosted people in town for Thursday and Friday from electric departments across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky, and did a great job. Even though he's not here, you make sure you let him know that I was bragging on him, that there were people staying in hotel rooms in Springfield, and they were playing golf, and they were eating in our restaurants. So thank you to Mr. Steve Sachs, and thank you, Jamie, for being here tonight. Any questions? Yes, sir.
On behalf of the senior citizens, 75 year and up, we thank you.
Any more discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 3.2, discuss and possible take action on the adjustments of the monthly gas rates for the Springfield Gas Department. We need a motion. Motion made by Alderman Green and a second by Alderman Hubbard to discuss. I'm going to call on Mr. Riddle.
I don't have good news.
Why not?
Gas is up 24.9%.
You're just the messenger. Yes, sir.
I was in Texas for 2 weeks, last 2 weeks of August. You know, hey, plenty of natural gas, plenty of everything, let it rip. You know, I'm British from down south of Austin. That's where a whole lot of natural gas is accumulated, so I'm sort of upset that they won't just let it go, bring the prices down.
Any discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 3.3, discuss and possible take action on the appointment of the Construction Board of the Adjustments and Appeals. Motion made by Alderman Green and a second by Alderman Hubbard. Any questions on these? Alderman Gregg's nominating Brent House to fill the unexpired term of Mr. Alfred Boyer.
Good choice.
I think he knows a little bit about construction.
I say he does.
No discussion, we're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 3.4, discuss and possible take action to issue a certificate of compliance for All Star Market LLC. Motion made to discuss by Alderman Green and a second by Alderman Hubbard. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. So this will look familiar to you all because you all approved one for this particular store a couple of months ago. That application was withdrawn so that the owner could amend the application and remove a co-owner, and he's the sole owner, so he's reapplied. So this is something you all already approved, but the application has to be approved again since it reflects differently as far as the owner is concerned.
Thank you. Thank you for pointing that back out to us. I know we talked about that, a couple months ago. Any question?
We'll give you a second chance, brother. He's a nice guy.
No discussion? We're good? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 3.5, discuss and possible take action to ratify a change order to the Tyler Technology software contract in the amount of $42,595 to add the accounts receivable module and to ratify additional billable support hours. Motion made by Alderman Green and a second by Alderman Hubbard to discuss. I assume if you have questions, Ms. Lisa Crockett can answer those, or you?
Either one of us.
Any questions? Okay, no questions, we're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 3.6, discuss and possible take action to ratify an emergency purchase from the Water Wastewater Department for electrical systems repair at the water treatment plant from CE Power Solutions LLC, Qualis LLC, in the amount of $36,040.23. Excuse me. Motion made by Alderman Green and a second by Alderman Hubbard to discuss. Yes, sir.
So we had a little bit of an issue, and it wasn't a little bit of an issue, it was a large issue at our water treatment plant where we had a electrical system failure, and so we were running on a generator there for a couple of days, and fortunately, we had the Logan Todd purchase that we were able to kind of raise and get a little bit more water, and so that it was an emergency purchase that had to be fixed, and they've been out there still performing work today, I believe, and so we're getting that back up and running, but it was a pretty severe issue with some electrical wire.
Okay, thank you for explaining that. It's important that we have water and electricity
Yes.
and all of the other amenities. No questions, we're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 3.7, discuss and possible take action on an acceptance of an infrastructure planning grant from the State of Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development in the amount of $50,000 for the Water Wastewater Department to be used for the water loss analysis. Motion made by Alderman Green, a second by Alderman Hubbard to discuss. My only question is, can we get more money?
More money.
More money, more money. No discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 3.8, discuss and possible take action on an acceptance of a tourism marketing grant from the State of Tennessee Department of Tourism Development in the amount of $30,000 to be used towards tourism branding study. Motion made by Alderman Green to discuss and a second by Vice Mayor Harris. Questions? How fast can we get some grants? No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 3.9, discuss and possible take action on the extension of a contract with the retail coach for retail recruitment services. Motion made by Alderman Green and a second by Vice Mayor Harris to discuss. I'm going to call on our city manager, Mr. Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is a one-year extension for the retail coach, our retail recruitment firm. You all know the announcement within the last couple of months that we're working on. That was as a result of this contract and the hard work put in. We recommend that we approve that for another year. There is probably more momentum now than we've seen since it started. And so it took the Chick-fil-A announcement, it took really 18 months from day zero. It took 18 months to get to that point, just to where we are now. And so these things take a while, and so we recommend that you all approve another year with this particular company. The money's in the budget to do so. You all have already approved that, but this particular company that we've been with, we recommend an extension.
And we've been very pleased with the company. Any question? No questions? Yes, sir, Mr. Hubbard.
Just echo what the city manager said. You know, it's
They're the
a
ones
long
that-
time coming, and now we're there.
Yes, sir. Any more discussion? No more discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
3.10, discuss and possible take action on authorizing the order for future purchases of 3 single-phase regulators for the Sleepy Hollow substation in the amount of $262,950 from Siemens Energy of Richland, Mississippi. Motion made by Alderman Hubbard, a second by Alderman Green. I'm gonna call on our city manager first.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is we've never done this before. This has not happened, to my knowledge, in ever. And so let me explain what's going on. This is the reason this one's not on your consent agenda. It's on the administrative portion of the agenda, because we don't have this money budgeted to purchase this equipment, these regulators. The reason that they are before you tonight, as we've discussed, is because of supply chain difficulties. There's a lengthy lead time. You can see that we're looking about 62 to 66 weeks on delivery. So what we're doing is, that's not gonna get any better. And so regulators are very, very, very important to our electric system, and so we need to get some of those on order, but we don't have to obligate the money. So Ms. Crockett had checked with the comptroller's office to see how they recommended us handling that, and they want you all to approve the future purchase. So we're obligating money in the future that we will budget to allow us to go in and order those, but they didn't want the order to take place without you all obligating and encumbering money that hasn't really been appropriated.
Tell us again how long it will take to get them in.
Currently, it's 62 to 66 weeks based on the bid that, if you see in the second page of that, Siemens Energy was the lowest bid, or the best bid, I think, and that was 62 to 66 weeks. So it could be 80 weeks if we push that out a little bit farther. And so we want to be careful not to do that. You will have another one of these coming right behind it. Chief Gladowski is currently in the process of getting together documentation for new fire apparatus, and so that's a similar situation. It's 52 weeks or longer, maybe even 24 months. So we'll have another one of those coming, but this is unfortunately a new way of doing business, I guess.
Well, and being at the Tennessee Municipal League's meeting and right here in our own community at the electric directors meeting, this is something that everyone's faced with. It's just not Springfield. And We want to make sure the power's going to be on, the water's going to come out, and these are things, new way of doing business, unfortunately. And we want to make sure we're very transparent about how we're doing this. Any questions? No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 3.11, discuss and possible take action on the elimination of the number of liquor stores allowed inside the city limits. We need a motion. Motion made by Alderman Hubbard, and we need a second to discuss. Do we have a second? Second by Alderman Green. Mr. Hubbard.
I suggested this, but after I got to studying and thinking about how I'm a proponent for free enterprise. And I think that would probably put us in a bind and you know, because we want the spirit of competition. And that's something, you know, that's something that a nation stands for, and it's just something that a normal, economical type of drive for human beings. So I retract.
Okay.
I retract that
retract?
statement, okay?
How do we retract that? We don't vote, okay. Thank you, Mr. Hubbard. Okay, we'll move on to our consent doc.
Mayor, without objection, move take it as one.
I second.
Okay? Any questions on the consent doc? Hold on. I've gotten ahead of us, so hold on just a second. Little technical difficulties. And while we're waiting for the computer to work correctly, I will remind you that Springfield High School has homecoming this week. So Friday night at 7 o'clock, I assume the festivities for homecoming court will start at 6. I'm looking at Mr. Trotter because he's always at the football games. Is that correct? I think it's correct. I know we start football at 7 o'clock. And the parade's at 4:30 for Springfield High School.
And we have a very, very good team this year.
Yes. It's going to be a great night for football.
And the class of 72 will be celebrating their 50th year out of high school. With my wife in that class.
That's the reason he knows all about that. Are we ready for the consent doc?
You ready to vote?
No questions on the consent doc? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. I'll call on our city managers for his report tonight. Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. So the crosswalk stamping is finally nearing completion. It has run into a couple of different delays, and we apologize for the inconvenience. We think the outcome is very, very nice, and so we think it's really dressed up our square in our downtown, and so we appreciate that and appreciate you all approving the funds to do so. One thing I need to make you aware of, we're getting ready to have to repair, some of you have gone back there and seen the City Hall situation that we've had with the flooding that needs repaired, and so we have the money, enough money to do that right now, enough funds in the budget to do that, so we're gonna go in and pay for that repair, but we'll need to amend the budget later to balance that out somehow to make up for those funds, but we can go ahead and afford to do that right now. But we had a major situation in City Hall and had to remediate a lot of things. So on a positive note, local option sales tax continues to be positive. We haven't seen any negative downturn effects in our local economy up to this point due to the inflation and some of the other economic circumstances. We're still in the middle of our software transition. It's created a few different delays, a couple of delays on getting some vendors paid and that sort of thing, but our employees are doing a really good job with patience and understanding while we transition to a new software that will make us all efficient in the long run, and we appreciate you all approving that contract amendment tonight. On the topic of the wastewater treatment plant, you all received the email from me about, I believe it was Sevierville's treatment plant that was almost $10 per treated gallon, right, which would put us at $70 million. We're anxiously awaiting the opening of a few more bids of those plants around the state to see what that looks like and what that means. The Sevierville plant was a little bit different process than us, so not entirely apples to apples, so we're really waiting to see. But the question I posed to our engineers is there any way that we can put this on hold and wait for things to calm down? And the answer was no, and the reason the answer was no is because we can't meet the permit limits that are coming due in 2025 with our current plant. TDEC is kind of making some of those permit discharge requirements more strict, and we are not going to be able to meet those with our new plant, or our current plant. So the new plant is going to be, regardless of the growth. So yes, we're doubling the capacity because of the growth, but that's not the only reason we need the new plant. So I wanted to update you there as well. Energy rates are still high. You can see that in the charts, and I'm grateful for the electric department, the gas department for putting together those charts. You can see that energy rates are as high as they've been in the last 14 months, and with gas, it just keeps going that direction. So those things, as Mayor, I think you said earlier, are out of our control, and we'll just hope for some things globally to get settled for that to come back down and in economically here in our country. And then within the probably next month, if not at the October meeting, the November meeting, we have wrapped up or are wrapping up the study phase for fiber to the home. Those studies that you all approved have finally kind of come to a close. We're meeting about those tomorrow, and so it will be decision time, if you will. And so there'll be some reports presented to you all in the next month or two whenever we can get that ready in a manner to be able to present in a report fashion, a final report for you all to kind of look at that and decide what direction we're going to go as a city with regard to fiber. So
There's some grants.
that's exciting. We had about 4 or 5 of those on the agenda tonight,
There's
so
some
we'll get
grants
some more.
for those. I'll
So-
send you the email.
Yeah, so there's an opportunity there. So we'll look forward to hearing from that hearing about that here in a couple of months. Thank you.
That's it?
That's it.
And the Robertson County Fair is going on. It started, if you didn't see all the traffic, the fair parade started today, and the fair is open now. So you're getting out early, and I'll encourage you to go to the fair. This meeting's adjourned.